my name is Reggie and today I will be sharing with you a review of Everything by Nicola Yoon. You guys have probably heard me talk about this book on my channel a little bit in the last few months since I read it. And I am very behind on videos, which is why it's taken me a while to review this, but I did want to review this because I felt like my thoughts were very unique on this book. I will let you know now, this is unfortunately not going to be a glowing review. I am in no means hating on Nicola Yoon or this book. I just wanted to vent about why I didn't like it. If you loved it, and so many people did, I am so happy for you. And a lot of this is, in fact, an actually beautiful, beautiful book. But when I first read this book, I had such a problem reading it because I loved so much of it. And I didn't love a lot of other parts, but now that it's sat with me for quite a few months and I've let my feelings brew, I've ultimately decided to give this book a 2.5 out of 5 stars. This is Nicola Yoon's debut novel, and while I had a lot of issues with this book, I still think this is a debut novel that Nicola Yoon should be very proud of. One, it is very popular. A lot of people loved it and it was a huge success. Two, it's beautifully written. And three, even though I really didn't like this book, I'm still heavily anticipating her next book. And, well, I was heavily anticipating it. Now I'm going to be reading it soon because it's coming in the mail. I bought it. I don't buy books that often. So that still says a lot, I think. Let me tell you a little bit about this book. This novel follows our main character, Madeline. And Madeline, as a young infant, was diagnosed with SCID, which is basically the bubble boy disease. It means she's allergic to anything and everything. And that forces her to live in the vacuum of her house that is constantly air recycled, and she doesn't get to visit a lot of people or have visitors. She doesn't have a lot of human contact. She does all of her schooling online. The only people she really contacts with are her mom and her nurse. Her nurse is named Carla, and Carla and Madeline have a cute, wonderful relationship. Madeline and her mom have a usually wonderful, at times iffy, but mostly wonderful relationship. They're very close, and the plot of the story picks up when Madeline looks out her window and sees a boy moving next door named Ollie, and Ollie and her somehow end up getting in communication. So one of the hugest pros of this book are the doodles and the format. It is in a way a multimedia book. We have clips that are from Madeline's notebook, we have emails, we have drawings, we have charts, and that makes the book really easy to read. And Nicola Yoon doesn't use these doodles and these graphs and these charts and these emails as a gimmick. It does actually help tell the story, further the story, and help you get into Madeline's mindset, which is something that helps you become closer to her as a character. Like I said, there were a huge amount of pros to this book. The first being it is diverse. Madeline is African American, I believe, and obviously she is dealing with an illness. The multimedia and the doodles and the quick-paced nature of this book was wonderful. Nicola Yoon's writing was also very well done. I found it very fascinating, very interesting, easy to read, fast to read, but also engaging. And that is one thing that I adore about writers, is who can engage you by the first page, and I was sucked in by page 1. Those characters really suck you in, you're really invested in their story. And I became so invested that I think that's why the book fell apart for me. I will explain. My con with this book is completely and wholeheartedly the ending, and that it was predictable. I saw the ending coming a mile away. Without spoiling the ending for you, I feel like this book was disingenuous to what it set out to do and kind of cheapens itself in the process by ending the way it does. I get shock value, I get twists, I get changes, I get things you didn't see coming. I get the point of that. I understand the merit of it. I oftentimes love it. I think what ruined this for me is that it cheapens what Nicola Yoon has used this entire story to build towards. She's giving voice to the voiceless and using this character and this story to present a diverse idea and situation that we don't see too often, and the ending completely shatters that for me. I can't do this without spoilers, so spoiler section ahead. The thing that bugs me the most about this book is that I think a person could feel so represented in this book, someone that's not normally represented in media and not seen this way and not delved in this much depth. And then the ending completely takes that away from them. And I can't imagine that feeling of saying, I finally feel represented, only to see in the end, actually, just kidding, you're not. And that kind of hurts, and that's kind of sad, and it just frustrates me. But I think that sitting here reading this book, as a person, I can only imagine a person with SCID or a similar condition that makes them feel isolated, reading this book and saying, I finally feel represented, only to have it turn out that Madeline is not, in fact, suffering from SCID. She's never actually gone through this, and her mother has been keeping her in her house. It upsets me the way Nicola Yoon portrays her mother then. It adds to this level of grief that is unrealistic, and more than unrealistic, it's hurtful because it villainizes her, but she's going through something of her own, and that's not fair. And then there is the nurse, which was my least favorite part of this whole thing. The nurse, who is this caring, wonderful, beautiful soul. Clara is a charming, wonderful person. She is the caregiver of all caregivers, and she cares about Madeline so much. She gives Madeline advice and love and constant support to the point that it costs Carla her job. And in the end, Carla's like, oh yeah, I kind of wondered, I suspected that your mother never really got over what happened and that she was lying to you. Then why did you not freaking say something? The choices of the characters are annoying, but it's the way Nicola Yoon portrays the choices of those characters and what those choices mean that really upsets me and frustrates me. So the thing is, I really wanted to discuss this with people, and I've talked to a couple people, and they were super supportive and understanding and agreed with my stance, understood where I came from, and even encouraged me to make this video. I felt it was very important and cathartic for me to get my points out. So the next video, I promise, will be a lot cheerier. I will see you in that one. Bye.
Have yourself a merry little Christmas.